talk for a minute.
Yeah, after I ramble about
We are live. It is the Dad's Drinking Bourbon Father's Day extravaganza. We are waiting for people to show up. Zeke is off, messing with the mood lighting, and we are about to get started. It is a very special day for us here at Dad's Drinking Bourbon because it's Father's Day, and that is kind of the day for dads to drink bourbon, isn't it?
Indeed.
It is.
Along with the other 364 in the year.
Yeah. I mean, but when you think about it, there are days that are, it's Father's Day. What do you put more, Father's Day or your birthday? Now that you're a dad.
It's been transitional. And I still think birthdays I'd written off years ago. Father's Days are growing. I think as the kid gets older and there's more things to do, it'll be even better.
Well, yeah. Father's Day is growing. I mean, this is my second Father's Day now. What is this for you?
2.
Yeah, so we're 2 Father's Day in. But this is such a great day.
Yeah.
It's a great day. Zeke and I went out. Thank you very much, by the way, for the Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there as well. We figure we might as well go big. Happy Father's Day, Troy. We figured we might as well go big for Father's Day. And I'd like to thank Zeke for sharing his drams with us tonight. But you know what? We'll wait for a couple more people to join before we tell our special surprise. Because we also have a surprise along with the Winkle Family Reserve Rye that we are going to share with everybody else tonight too. So we're going to do 2. We're going to try to do it in a good amount of time because we know we don't want you sitting there and getting bored. But we had a good Father's Day weekend. We went out and golfed yesterday. We did the annual Dad's Drinking Bourbon golf outing because our wives don't let us out to golf on a Saturday any other day but Father's Day weekend. So we did get to get out. Our wives let both of us go out yesterday. It wasn't the best.
Yeah,
we couldn't hit a putt to save our life.
There's no record of the scorecards, which is a good thing most likely. As John said, the short game is the first thing to go, and I think the hole could have been a foot in diameter and we wouldn't have made many putts.
I know I ended up in the mid-80s somewhere, which is not bad for not having golfed in 2 years, but it was not the...
I was mid-80s around like 15.
Yeah. It was good. It was very good. We hope all of you had a good Father's Day out there as well. We're still enjoying our Father's Day, which is why we have the Winkle Family Reserve Rye. This thing, we're letting it open up a little bit because as Zeke found he had a pour, it's important that you open this up a little bit. When you first smell this, it's going to smell very astringent. So if you let it sit for a couple minutes before you have it, it's going to make all the difference in the world. So that's the biggest piece of advice we can give you before you even get in there and enjoy one. It's 13 years old. It's 95.6% proof. Or, sorry, not percent. It's 95.6 proof. 47.8% volume, alcohol by volume. I can't talk. I cannot talk today. Alcohol by volume.
I think they know where you're going with it. Just go.
Nah, I know. Less is more.
Yeah, and the label does have 13 years, depending on what you read and speculation and whatnot, and or the series. Some things say that 13 years is the youngest of any of them. Therefore, that's what's on the standard label, that certain ones do have more age. I don't know if anyone will ever really be able to confirm that, but if anyone cares to be specific, it's a 2015 F Series.
And it's anywhere from 13 to 19 years is what gets put in. So what they do, and a lot of this is not confirmed necessarily by Buffalo Trace, but the rye itself is not your typical line of Pappy. So you don't have the standard mash bill that you would think of when you think of Weller and Pappy Van Winkle and Lot B and Old Rip. So this is actually a combination, from what we can tell from our digging before, it's a combination of Bernheim and Old Medley. And that's not Old Medley that you would see out there now, but the Medleys that was actually in the distillery that's no longer with us. And they took all that stuff and put them in steel vats and kept them. And they're trying to keep them close to 13 to 19, but of course you can't. You got to go with the lowest age statement that's in there. So it's a blended rye.
And the label does just say bottled, not distilled. So that subtle, I guess, discrepancy is there, or you can look at it as them just pointing out we're selling the juice, but we didn't make it.
Exactly. And happy Father's Day, Tim. Tim is one of our favorite dads drinking bourbon, so thank you very much. Tim enjoyed some Blade and Bow the other day. That looked pretty. Speaking of Stitzel and all the stuff coming together, what do you think of that Blade and Bow? The blue label, it was iffy on me when I first opened it, but then when I let it open up for a good 6 months, I actually really enjoyed that Blade and Bow. But if you get it and you have it right when you first open it, it's a real disappointment. You think, because they market it as Stitzel and they say everything is Stitzel with it, it's one of those things that once I let it open up for a little bit, I absolutely loved it. Have you had it?
I did. It didn't do much for me, but that proof range isn't really my cup of tea normally anyway.
What?
I'm like 90.
You don't like 9? You like more. You like the cask strength, don't you?
Yeah, I want the real deal. I don't need the diluted version.
Because there's some people that are at a 90 proof and like they won't do anything under 90, but you won't do anything really under 100. So this one right here at 95.6, that is an interesting range for you.
It's interesting proof to begin with. As far as I'm sure there was some degree of adding water, seeing flavors, smells, etc. Like that's a very fine-tuned number. I feel like that's not just 90 proof.
It's 95. Like your temperature. It's like 98.6. I'm surprised more bourbons don't come out at 98.6 just because it would be your body temperature. Why not, right?
It's beyond my limited knowledge.
I mean, like, I think if they were going to give bourbon to astronauts and NASA was going to provide bourbon, I feel like NASA would provide 98.6 proof bourbon. We are drinking Van Winkle Family Reserve Rye. I'm trying to get Zeke to, because I know how Zeke feels about NASA. So I'm really trying to just, I'm trying to instigate.
Early.
I'm trying to instigate Tim. It's not working.
And the handy we did have, that was one of the early runs. John was a big fan. I surprisingly not so much.
Now we put Handy up against Weller that day too.
But even, I guess my laughable caveat to that would be that I find Baby Saz to be just really great. I mean, obviously it's nothing to be stupendous on, but it's a good pour to me. And considering Handy should just be a barrel proof version of that, and I like barrel proof, it seemed to go against most things that I would think made sense. But oh well.
So Josh looks like he's getting off, but he's going to miss it. I will give you guys a little sneak preview because it's a big day. If you haven't realized it, for Dad's Drinking Bourbon, this is a big day. So not only do we have this Family Reserve Rye, we might, and by might I mean we will, be drinking the Four Roses 50th anniversary of Al Young, and we are going to have that after we have the rye. We are letting both of these open up. We have poured them already, but Zeke was nice enough and drove up to Four Roses.
Yeah, we picked up the small batch limited this year. I've had a pour the day I got it. Honestly, let it sit for probably over 30 minutes. Just checking the nose on it from time to time before it really started opening up. Once that happened, I thought it was really tasty. There's a review out somewhere. I can't remember. I sent it to you. I can't remember who did it, but literally, this is like a paragraph that's maybe 2 sentences and more flavors and words than I've ever seen used to describe anything. And at first, when I read it, I thought, all right, somebody's just blowing smoke here. However, after having a pour, I really think that depending on your taste, every single one of those flavors could honestly be found in there. It's some special juice. If you see it in your stores coming soon, you won't be disappointed by grabbing a bottle.
No, and I'm looking forward to that because I have not had the Al Young yet, and I'm very much looking forward to having it. We are letting both of these open up for a minute, but we are going to do the Van Winkle Reserve Rye. We are also going to do the Four Roses Al Young. So I'm not sure if that is going to hit Denver. Is it only going to be?
I understood it to be at least the same as the previous year's small batch limited. I mean, it will go up. This is the small batch limited for the year. It just happened to coincide with Al's 50th. And I know at least a friend of mine said that the Bowling Green Kroger's all got a case and it was just on the shelf.
Really?
And gone.
Because it is going now. This stuff. I mean, let's talk about secondary for a minute. This stuff is going for $375 easy on secondary. Now Zeke did not pay that. Zeke paid a lot less than $375.
I set in a nice little line and got a nice little cup and felt good about myself.
Hey Steve, happy Father's Day. Steve Akeley just joined. Everybody go check out his stuff on the ABV network. It's good to have him on. We enjoy his stuff. But Steve, for Father's Day, in honor of fathers out there everywhere, we are drinking some Van Winkle Reserve Rye, and we are also drinking the Al Young 50th anniversary. So we are going big here on Dad's Drinking Bourbon for Father's Day, because this is kind of, I mean, I hate to say this is our Christmas, because Christmas is pretty good too, but this is a special day for the Dad's Drinking Bourbon out there everywhere.
We did try to go big on the golf course, and unfortunately, there might be a dead bird or squirrel somewhere.
We were golfing yesterday. We were doing our Dad's Drinking Bourbon annual golf outing, and one of the guys we were golfing with, we were on 16, and I think he hit it over into the tee box on 17, right when he was trying to drive the green, and we thought for sure that he absolutely creamed these women.
But it was close to a broken jaw from where we were standing, but everyone's still alive, luckily.
And we messed with them for a while too, for a good 10 minutes. We were like, hey, their carts haven't moved. We're like, we haven't seen their carts move since you almost hit them. But it was the perfect thing. They were rounding a corner, and as they were rounding the corner, his ball went right over there, and we thought we thought he absolutely creamed them. We saw their brakes go.
It was very hairy situation, to say the least.
Yes. So let's smell these for a minute. Let's smell the Van Winkle. We poured that first. It's opening up a little. It's not. Yeah. So when you first pour this, guys, it's very astringent. So if you go ahead and you try having that Van Winkle right off the gate, you're gonna look at it, or you're gonna smell it, and you're gonna say, this is not all it's cracked up to be. Before I got here, Zeke had one poured. I can tell you that if you let it open up for a while, you get some amazing stuff on your nose. I got a lot of caramel when I smelt yours earlier. A lot of caramel on there. A lot of it was just a wealth, a cornucopia, if you will, of different smells.
Yeah, I couldn't place everything. It definitely, the smell matched the age, I guess I would say, in that I get the traditional big boisterous rye smells, but they do have an aging tint to them almost. I felt like it not to say it wasn't as vibrant, but it just had a darkness to it of some of the fruit and baking smells that come out, maybe even more like nutmegish.
And single malt slacker. Ooh, single malt slacker.
Man.
It is. I really can't talk tonight. It is 95.6 on the proof. It's 48.8. Did I get that? No, it's 95.6, 47.8. My math is off tonight. I'm just so excited to have these two. That's why I'm messing up so much.
We're now going to review that mid-80s score he says he turned in on the round yesterday, too.
Yes. I only had one mulligan on the first hole. The first hole, we all got a mulligan except for Zeke, who hit an amazing drive.
That was a par, and the day went downhill.
And then we did not need a mulligan off of that. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
smelling it now, it's opening up. I mean, it's opened up. We've probably had it open for about 20 minutes now.
Yeah, getting there.
It's very much opening up. I do get that nutmeg you were mentioning. I get caramel, nutmeg. There's still a little bit of astringentness to it. What are you getting?
I don't pick up any astringent, but to me there's a layer of tobacco almost in there on the rye that I can't say I've really had on maybe any rye that I can think of, which I think would draw either, people are either one or the other on that tobacco leatherish, taste or smell. So it's either going to add a layer of complexity that folks are going to say they haven't seen or found anywhere else, or almost kind of spin the opposite way and say, I don't know how much a fan of this I really am, at least if nothing else the first try, because you've never had that layer on rye. I mean, I can't think of any, especially the younger ones like the young Willets.
Yeah, I know. It's this is probably one of the most complex ryes I think I've ever smelled. And the podcast just joined, so Will, happy almost Father's Day. So if you guys don't listen to them, whiskeypodcast.com, they're doing some great things over there too. But Will is about to be a dad here in about a month, maybe month and a half. So,
Enjoy the time.
Enjoy going to Target while you can. Enjoy doing that stuff because your life is going to change, but it's going to be the best thing ever. We are drinking Van Winkle Reserve Rye, and we've also busted out for Father's Day the 50th anniversary of Al Young, the Four Roses limited edition small batch for this year. This is a mixture, by the way, for those of you that are interested. We are delaying while we let these open up for another minute, but this Four Roses is OBSF, which is 12 years, OBSK, which is 15 years, OBSV, which is 23 years, and OESV, which is 13 years. So
The 23 one, obviously, I think is what stands out to most people. Is wow, they've had that tucked away for a while. Obviously, somebody had some big plans for it. And on the bottle, it doesn't list the ratios. I saw a pie graph somewhere, and honestly, do not remember where it came in at.
Well, it says, to honor the 50th anniversary of Al Young, our senior brand ambassador and resident historian who started with the company in 1967, you would expect nothing less than a limited edition release that's truly one for the ages. Hand-selected by Al to celebrate the occasion, this barrel-strength small batch greets you with bright vanilla bean and magnolia blossom aromas. I can't talk today.
Aromas. That's a new one.
Balanced by raspberry, fig, ripe cherry, and rich oak flavors. The finish is appropriately long and smooth, coating the palate with honey, cinnamon, and just a hint of spearmint. You don't see that too often on this. Handcrafted from 4 of our 10 distinct bourbon recipes, it's an exceptional spirit, a lot like Al himself, mellow and perfectly aged. You got to give it to him. That is one of the best descriptions that we probably seen on a bottle.
Yeah.
Which you appreciate that. It kind of lets you know what you might taste. And when you look at that, there's a whole bunch of stuff, by the way, beer, bourbon, and barbecue, that you can read on the Four Roses lettering. And there are some people that are on this live chat that know better than I do. but it is a whole thing to kind of give you the rundown. It basically lets you know the mash bill. So some of the letters basically let you know that it was distilled at Four Roses. Some of the letters let you know if it is a high rye. So it is those letters there, and I think in one of our posts I wrote it all out. And
yeah, if you go to the Four Roses site, it's very good. Even if you see a store with a barrel select in it, it's going to have a neck tag. It's going to tell you A, what the barrel you have is, and then B, explain list all 10 and what flavor profiles you can expect from them. And I think it's 2 different yeast strains and then a high and a low rye for each one. And somehow that ends up as being 10. I know it sounds like it would be 8. Maybe I missed something in there, but there are definitely 10 different of those different blends.
And another thing I would suggest to you is our friends over at the podcast actually did a tournament with 10. It caused our buddy the Grease a little bit of trouble because he had to, they had to give everybody 2 of them a bye, but they actually did a 3-round head-to-head on this.
I think it would depend on your flavor profile. If you look at that hanging neck tag, it's literally going to tell you in 4 or 5 words, very brief, but what to expect from each one. And it's a good steering point. If you like the higher ryes, it'll tell you if you want something very fruity, floral, etc. Then that'll tell you as well. I know there's 2 or 3 that I think, I guess, the masses normally gravitate toward, and I honestly don't remember what they are. But
well, a lot of them are here. A lot of them are what Al picked. So if I was telling you my 3 favorites, it's OBSK, which is the 15-year, the OBSV, which is the 23-year, and the OESV. Some people go for the Ks. I tend to gravitate towards the Vs, but they're all really good. Suggest reading up on it, and we could actually help you out on a little more of that. But
it's one of those things. Definitely see a lot of people that once they hone in which 2 or 3 they really like and can find private selects, they'll say it's the best, $50-$55 bottle they're going to find on the shelf, at least in their perspective, or availability wise as well.
So this is.
Did you get any of it yet?
This is a little fruity too. I'm getting a little like cherry.
I get it, but to me it's a darker than I'm used to.
It's like a black
that's
cherry.
That's what's throwing me off is everything's present, but it's literally like they got fondued or something.
Oh, it's great. It's the best smelling rye, I think. This and Thomas Handy, of course, are probably the best smelling ryes that I've had. But this is probably the most complex rye I think I've ever smelled, which is.
Yeah, it's hard to place, and if somebody told you it was a rye, you'll pick up rye tendencies. But I think if you've had many aged high rye whiskeys, you might not necessarily consider it, a greater than 51% rye product. Beer, Burger, and Barbecue. If you're in Nashville,
no, he's in St. Louis.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Main Street. At least almost always has Four Roses picks, which is nice.
And Reds always has Four Roses picks. But there's a lot of ones out there, and a lot of that and 1792 are a lot of the go-to for store picks.
Big fan of the 3-year Willet here. A few bottles of that may have got drug home with me after the Al Young release. Some folks don't like it, but every bottle I've had went down rather easily and quickly. So,
wow.
That's what you think, bub?
Wow. It's a lot of, it doesn't burn.
Uh-oh.
It does not burn at all. It is smooth. But the weirdest thing about this, it is smooth, but it is a hot smooth. Like there's still some tingle, but it doesn't give you that Kentucky hug. It is, wow. It is it's spicy, but it's not overly spicy. I think I got that bug that was trying to get you.
Matt.
It is spicy, but it's not overly spicy. It is just enjoyable. I think that's the thing about this one. It is just very, very, very enjoyable.
It's definitely, I would say it's still moving tremendously from having a small pour a couple of nights ago, a small one earlier, and both those even just sitting out for 30 or 40 minutes. It's definitely one of those it gets tucked away for a good 6 months, and then we'll revisit and see where it may have moved to. But the darkness of it, it keeps throwing me off just because I keep telling myself, sorry, not darkness of color, but the flavor has such a tobacco leather I haven't placed in any of the.
I'm getting leather on there too. I'm getting like a caramel, a tobacco and leather, a black cherry. It does have a fruitiness to it as well, but it is just a really good sipper.
Yeah, I mean, like to me, where I put a lot of ryes, especially in my head, you really just revert back to like winter, cold weather, baking, all the pies come out of the oven, and that being like an ideal time for a rye. This, I don't get that from it. Not saying it's not, I wouldn't don't enjoy drinking it, but it definitely just fits like any other bourbon would almost, as far as just an anytime drinker. And it doesn't pull those olfactory memories out quite the same way.
And thank you guys for sending out the Four Roses mash bills. You know, when it comes to that, I kind of think of it like I think of phone numbers. I don't remember phone numbers in my phone because I could just put them in my phone. Same thing with that. I actually have the chart saved as a note on my phone, but I just don't remember it like I used to because I don't need to. Wow. So if we were gonna say buy it, sip it, or pass on this, what would you say for the Van Winkle Rye?
Well, if anyone was given the opportunity to buy one at MSRP or remotely close to it, you shake that hand of the man that owns the store, pat him on the back real hard,
and open the bottle and give him a sip.
And give him your credit card. Oh, and yeah, open it, bring him a pour back, do something, but not many of these come out, so someone just did you more than a solid, but you probably know that if it's being offered to you.
Now, what is this one on secondary?
A lot.
Okay. So, because of just the allocation, if you can find it, obviously buy it.
It's more than the 15 pappy, less than 20.
Yeah, so I mean, you're looking at over $800 for this. So if you're on secondary, so. And I knew what the price was. I just didn't want to say. I don't even want to say it coming out of my mouth. I could never justify spending that much on a bourbon or a rye. I just, with MSRP being like $100 or so,
yeah.
Little over, maybe 120, 130. I can't justify going and spending $900 to $1,500 on that. So
yeah.
It is amazing, but I'd get one at a bar. Honestly, if you have the chance, go out to a bar. Something good happens. Order one of these. You might be $50 to $100 in the hole for doing it. I probably wouldn't even bar it at $100. I'd probably sip it at a bar for $75 to $50.
It'd definitely be worth having if you having the pour, not the bottle per se. I think a better project, so to speak, might be trying to find what details there are on where the sourcing came from, who else they were selling juice to, and what old dusties that are very similar for a less price might be available based on using the same distillery. I haven't looked it up, I promise, so I'm not giving any hints or saying there's ones out there, but if someone's selling to one source, they're likely selling to another, I would think.
Yes. So they're probably now. The difference is the magic and what they do with it after they get it. But this stuff is really, really good. Moving on to our friend Al Young. I think we're in agreement on that one. Moving on to our friend Al Young, just to mention this again, I think we got... So it says, the smell is going to greet you with bright vanilla bean and magnolia blossom aromas balanced by raspberry, fig, and ripe cherry and rich oak flavors. So we should get some oak, cherry, raspberry, fig. When you smell this, yeah, I don't think I would ever tell my wife I wanted a $1,500 bottle of bourbon because the thing is, back in my radio days, I was always told, don't ask a question you don't already know the answer to. I already know what the answer is, and it is a bad deal bringing that up. That's all I gotta say.
And to elaborate the description, this was I think a Fred Minnick article or write-up. A caramel-laden fruit bouquet followed by unending vanilla, leather, tobacco, cotton candy, marshmallow, quince, cinnamon, hints of juniper, and wildflowers. Then brown sugar butter and maple syrup over buttermilk pancakes, Cracker Jack, raw honey, bittersweet chocolate, and hints of pecan shell. Extremely long finish with a fried apple pie note. An incredibly complex and intense must-have sipper. Perfection.
That is Fred Minnick.
And literally, I'm somewhat winded from reading that. But I'll let John have a taste and see if it's any close to that at all, or if he thinks it's just blowing smoke.
So I want you to read that again, but what I want you to do is just read what it isn't.
No, I read this the first time. I was like, Jesus. I mean, I don't know where you come up with, like, place that many tastes.
So a big nod to Fred Minnick for the great write-up. But I want you to put in, do that again, just say what it isn't.
They're literally nothing. At least not that most people find desirable.
On the nose, I definitely get a vanilla and I don't know if it's magnolia, but it is floral. He did say cotton candy, buttermilk pancakes. Who doesn't love buttermilk pancakes? The buttermilk pancakes we got. Shoot, what else do we have?
It's a lot.
It's everything. I'm not even gonna go through that again.
I don't know what a quince is. Like a quiche? Quince. That.
Anybody know what that? Look that up. Look up what quince is.
It's not a Spanish number.
It's quince. I am 15 años. That's how long it was aged. Oh, so
literally, even nosing this, something different almost jumps out every time. I feel like the first pour I had just sat outside, let soaked in some Mother Nature. It came in a little glass, like a rock glass. I had that to begin with. Really, just could not get a nose. I don't know if it was the fact the bottlers hadn't had time, or it was the glass. So that's when I switched over to the Glencairn, and it really started picking up. I did see some other commentary on a group that was similar in their initial tasting experience as well. So it definitely just does need some time. I think if anything, the fact it's a blend and the oils from the various barrels have now migrated together or locked up, whatever you want to call it, made it just need more time to oxidize and really open up.
It's really good.
Pear.
But Paula, how do you say it? Do you say quince or do you say quince?
Quince.
Quince?
That's what I'm going with. Quince or quince.
What is the what is the proper pronunciation of quince or quince or Quincy? Quincy. Paula has a great food blog, so she should know this. And if you all haven't gone to it, Quinnis.
Huh.
I never would have got that. I'm dumb. You had to go get Quinnis from a friend in Texas? No who. So
I think not Tom. There's
a side conversation.
Yeah, there OWA store picks, which actually got John one of those. I just keep forgetting to bring it to him somehow.
Quincense.
Quintessence.
Quincense. I don't know.
I still come back up in my vocabulary. Obviously, that would be plagiarism, so that will not be listed in any review.
I still.
It'll say pear-like.
Yeah, and I still owe Zeke 4 grain. This is how far back we are.
Jesus.
So just a heads up for next week, because the following week or the following 2 weeks, I don't know how we're gonna do this.
We're both all over.
Yeah, we're both all over for the following 2 weeks after this. After next week, because I'm gonna be down in Florida. Where are you gonna be?
I'll be in Georgia at some point, and then I think that's the only trip. But I think we're gone at opposite times.
Yeah, but I'm gone from the 30th to the 8th.
I'm just going back the weekend of the 1st, 2nd, and come back here the 3rd. Go do redneck things back home in Northwest Georgia.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna 4-wheel? You gonna go?
We got one of those side-by-side doodads.
Oh, really?
Oh man, you can tear those things up.
Oh,
A lot safer too if you.
Can I go down there with you one time and ride around in one of those?
It just sits there, and when I come home, it's pointless.
Do you take the kiddo out in it?
No.
Because there's no car seat?
Yeah, I don't trust. No, I don't want to hear it, and I would not be happy with myself. So it's just me or.
So let me ask you something.
Friends.
Let me ask you something. What's worse? Telling your wife you want a $1,500 bottle of whiskey, or saying you want to take the kid riding in the side by side?
Yeah, those aren't apples to apples, but I'm not going with either. His day will come; it'll be there.
So,
yeah, actually, more importantly, because John is a big Four Roses small batch limited fan, especially the 15. I know he has.
I have the 16, the 14. I've had the 15, but I don't have a bottle of it. I have.
And supposedly, at least from what I could see, the 13 and the 15 were historically listed as being the hierarchy of the each year's release. And then,
of course, I have the 2 years. I have the 2 years that suck, is what you're telling me.
No one said they were bad. I was just going to the point of I saw several things saying that people that have had more and are more educated than at least me felt this one really just is the cream of the crop.
Well, I mean, Al picked it, so of course. But I love the limited edition small batch. Is one of my favorite bourbons out there from Four Roses. I think it's great especially if you could get it retail. You know, paying $70 or $80 for that is how much was this one retail? $160. Oh yeah, this one was the big thing that everybody was a little bit perturbed about. And thank you for jogging my memory, because this is a point of contention. Typically, the limited editions are about $80 over there at Four Roses. This one came out and it's actually it was $150, and everybody was kind of saying, "Would you pay this much?" So when you think about things that are coming out now, you don't have a lot of stuff. You don't have a lot of limited editions that are jumping into that $150. Even if you think about the Van Winkles, if you get one of them at retail, you're still only looking about $130. Same with BTAC. So the question I have for you, and we do have to wrap up here sometime soon, but the question I have for you is, does this then push us into a new area of bourbon? And is this a place that we don't want to go?
I think it just seems to at least help curb just the abundance of people that will walk in and it's for sale before they've already signed their credit card statement. And not knocking secondary by any means. It is what it is, and honestly, for a lot of releases, as most of us all know, it sucks paying more than MSRP, but if you want to get it, it's that or a bar. And I mean, per glass at the bar is going to be more than secondary for most things, so something you like, by all means, it's a good friend to have. But I think to that point, it helps to curb the folks that are used to seeing a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-fold profit, whereas they're looking to maybe double at best. It's not as good of a percent, and therefore more bottles are open to folks that just want to truly enjoy it. I mean, you can't blame a brand when anyone can get on the internet and see what it consistently sells for. I mean, that's leaving money on the table. I mean, if we sold hamburgers and they were $4 a piece and some guy bought it and walked in the parking lot and sold them for $8, the next day they'd be $7 a piece at our store. I mean, that's just economics.
Or freakonomics.
Hey, it'd be a good burger.
It would be. I'd make a hell of a burger if I had a burger place. That's all I gotta say. So this one, I'm definitely getting the fruit notes on this, and I am getting a little bit of a darkness of oak, but it's different than, not like we're doing these as a head-to-head, but I do want to say that I think it is a fruity, but it's not, even with the oak, it's not a dark fruit like the Van Winkle Rye is. It is just fruit it's complex, is the best way I could say it. I mean, you get the fruit, you get the vanilla, you get the honey, you get the raspberry, you get the cherry, you get the oak. I didn't get buttermilk pancakes. I wish I did.
Did you get quince?
I did not get quinces. Or quincense.
Sorry for going deep, but I mean, I promise you, this bottle has...
Is that incense?
Just layers of flavors in it. I would say almost anyone, no matter what their preference were, or what mashes they gravitated to, you would find something in here that literally just lit up the scoreboard for you, and you will thoroughly enjoy drinking.
And I think that's the thing that you don't have to go pay secondary prices. I mean, that's one of the things that one of the things that we could tell you guys, and not to get so deep on Father's Day, is we try to give a good different array, because I think there's things that are $15 that are as good as some of the stuff that they say is $150 out there. Sometimes the stuff that is $150 is $150 for a reason. That's what I would say about this Four Roses. And if you want my rating, I would actually buy this, because I think it's that good, it's that complex. But sometimes I think that bottles are appropriately priced at $30 or $50, and then they're priced more in secondary. Yeah, Evan Williams Bottled and Bond is a perfect... you know what? For me, it's not Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, because we did our Bottled and Bond challenge, and the E.H. Taylor one. It's the Evan Williams Single Barrel. Mm-hmm. I think is one of the ones that is
especially in those older years, you can still find an 03 or an 04 sitting out there.
And those are the ones that are like peanut brittle, But I mean, going into our Bottled and Bond challenge, you got Old Fitz, which is great for a weeder. You got the Evan Williams Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond that are kind of the same thing, because they've both been through the Lincoln County method. You have Old Bardstown. You have all this stuff that is not. That is not secondary stuff, and stuff that you could find. Allocation might make it tough, but if one of our goals is to kind of spread that word that you don't have to spend $800 for a good bottle of bourbon, then we've done our job.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that I know of, either one of us, and we both agreed and didn't think either of us would go into it, was worth secondary, was the 2014 George T. Stagg at $4.50 or $5. I wouldn't do it much, but
That was so.
having that bottle and just getting a slight pour every now and then with a good friend, or if you just had a big day or a nice moment, I'll still say I think that one's worth having sitting around.
And we put that one up against Stag Junior, thinking that we would be able to tell everybody, "Hey, Stag Junior at $60 is just as good as this." And we really tried to do that. That was our bias going in, admittedly. And we came out of that thinking, "Oh my God, Stag is one of the best bourbons I've ever had in my whole entire life." That being said, I think you should go out and get this. I think it's wonderfully complex. I like the different blends they have in there. I love all the different tastes. It's got legs for days on it. It's got a really, really good finish. Really enjoy this stuff.
Yeah, and
we're not saying get it secondary, but if you happen to be in a Kroger and you find one of these, pick it up. If it happens to make its way to you, we suggest getting it.
Yeah, and it is, even though it's a blend, it's still barrel proof.
We didn't mention that. It is 53.8 ABV, so we're looking at 107.6.
Yeah, and I'm not sure a new whiskey drinker would pick up on everything that's there, but at the same time, for a barrel proof, it might be one of those euphoric things that they just try to chase it for forever afterwards. If they truly let it work around the palate and can pick up all the flavor that's in there, because I don't know of anything that's really that loaded.
Yeah,
I don't. Not to beat a dead horse, but there's a lot going on in there, and it no matter where you see it, if it's at a bar, in a store.
It's worth a pour.
If you don't see it in the store and see it at the bar, I would get a pour, let it sit for a bit, and depending on where secondary is and if it's reasonable to you in that regard, I personally haven't had many things that I would rank on that level.
Well, that being said, I think we've said it all. Thank you guys very, very much for joining us on Father's Day. We absolutely appreciate it. See us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
And John will be saying the same incorrect words.
Yes, John can't talk. But we will see you guys next week. Thank you, Troy, for staying on. Happy Father's Day, everyone.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to anyone out there, anyone expecting. And if not, just happy Sunday fun day with a good pour of bourbon.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.